Hi, Linda.
Hi, Nicolette.
Hi, my name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. First off, thank you very much for saying yes to be interviewed today and for taking the time early in the morning, your side, which is 8 a.m., to make this happen. So thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me on as a guest.
Thank you so much. So, as my ritual, I would like to read a bit of your introduction to our listeners today, and then we can get right into business. So, hey everyone, we have Linda Grizely here with us, your money mindset mentor. Linda is passionate about guiding women through transformative journeys. In her career as a financial planner, Linda witnessed clients facing self imposed obstacles that hindered their financial growth. Many times she found herself thinking if only they could break free from these internal barriers, or more realistically, they need to get out of their own way. Reflecting on this, Linda thought about her own experiences with money. Growing up in a lower middle class household, she had inherited a scarcity mindset. As her life progressed, she experienced diverse money situations and observed many narratives. Through these vast life experiences and through self realization, she set out on a journey of self improvement and unwittingly rewrote her money script. Now she empowers others in overcoming internal obstacles to financial success. At Mindset and Money, she enables women to shift their money mindset, dismantling internal obstacles blocking their financial success. Wow, definitely a topic that I myself am interested in to dive deeper. So, Linda, welcome.
Thanks. It's a lot, right? It's a big mouthful, but I think the story is important in understanding why I do what I do.
Yeah. So, I want to get right into that. But first, can you share with us what was it like growing up as Linda Grizely?
Well, I had a good childhood. Sometimes I think when people read that, they think that I didn't. But no, my childhood was great. I grew up you know, playing in fields and having watching beautiful sunsets and lots of good things about my childhood. But the one thing that I like to talk about is the idea that my household did not talk about money at all. And so it wasn't something that I really learned, and it's not really taught in school. So learning how to manage your money and understand what you're supposed to do with money once you start earning it is something that everybody kind of muddles through and figures out for themselves usually. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they've learned more, but a lot of times it's just us figuring it out as we start making it.
It's so funny. I mean, when I look at it, America is the biggest economy in the world right now, and yet I have guests coming on saying the same thing. How ironic is that? Like, why are they not teaching this in school?
I don't have the answer to that because it's such an important thing. I mean, we deal with money every single day of our lives. In some way,
Exactly.
shape, or form, we're consuming something, we're buying something,
Mm.
or we're earning something, we're going to a job. Like everything we do revolves around money.
Mhm.
So the idea that it's such an important part of our lives, and yet we aren't taught to talk about it or learn about it in our schools is a wonder to me. But the idea is that if we can get more people comfortable talking about it and understanding more about it, the better off then they will be.
Yes. Tell us. You were saying something about why you do what you do. What is your backstory?
So, having grown up in that sense where we didn't talk about money, I had a scarcity mindset, meaning that I was always working for the next dollar. I was always wondering where my next paycheck was coming from. I mean, even when I had jobs, I never was taught really to save. I didn't understand the idea of, making sure I had an emergency fund or anything. I felt as long as I was keeping up with the bills that I had, that I was doing fine and that I didn't need to save, and also the idea that I could earn more. Right. So part of my journey was going through a divorce and realizing after the divorce that I wasn't even able to pay my bills for me and my small house with my two children on the job that I had. And I was going backwards. And the job that I had, I actually loved the job itself, but I was in a really bad culture and it was really awful. And I like had a pit in my stomach every day I was going to work, but I couldn't afford, to make any changes. But what I really realized was that I did need to make change. I needed to make drastic change. And that's what I did. And part of that change was figuring out like what was happening internally and just doing a deep dive into why things like why am I in this situation? How can I get my out of this situation? How can I think differently? How can I overcome obstacles that might be inside of me in order to make my world bigger, right? So it was really just a lot of internal work. And part of that, which I didn't know at the time, was changing my money mindset and believing that I was worth more and could do more. And so now I help others, overcome internal obstacles, mainly about money, and understand that they can do more and that they deserve more and that they are worthy, right? um,
Yes,
and
yes,
so
yes.
I want to help people get through those hard times that I was in, or even help them before they get to those hard times.
I love this topic. I love it because it's all integrated into one, because scarcity mindset, that is the exact opposite of abundance mindset.
Yes.
It's about knowing, no, believing that there is enough pie or cake for everyone, and you are worthy and deserving of all of the things that you can conjure in your mind. Wow. Yes. So we're on the right path right now. Where was it?
We are aligned.
Yes, yes, yes. So, Linda, how can a person transform their money mindset?
Well, okay, so the first part is they need to recognize what is holding them back. And you can do that on your own with some deep dive in, but a lot of times it does take a coach or mentor to help you talk through and realize what it is that really is holding you back. If you can find the source of that belief, so our beliefs come from everything that we've experienced in our lives. They could be our parents, our grandparents, our siblings, our friends, teachers, coaches, anything. Like our beliefs about ourselves come from what we feel that others thought about us, whether it's true or not. So when you uncover these beliefs, either I'm unworthy, or I'm only, this is the amount that I should be making, or I'll never be rich, or whatever it is, figuring out why you think that, and then trying to reflect on where it came from to understand that it's not true, or just tell yourself I don't believe it anymore, and then really just start replacing that belief with I am worthy, I am deserving, the world for me is abundant, and that I just believe that, and then start finding the evidence for that. Our minds find what we're looking for. I think there's some psychological tests out there where they'll show you a room and it'll have a bunch of different things in it and they're different colors, and then they'll say, focus on the yellow things in the room. So you're looking at the yellow things, and then the next thing they'll ask you is, how many things in the room were yellow? And you say like 10. And then they'll say, well, how many things in the room were red? And you have like no idea, because you weren't looking for that. So when you start looking for the abundance and looking for the proof that you are worthy, that's when you start seeing it.
I love that. There's so many things that was intersecting there. I got reminded by a quote from Rumi that you seek is seeking you. And energy goes where attention, no, attention goes where energy flows, something like that. Or I think it's the other way around. So
Attention goes where energy flows, definitely. That's exactly
yes,
what I'm talking about.
yes, yes, yes. I cannot stress this enough. I too was in that, I had that kind of mindset growing up, and I had to pull myself away from the conditioning. I didn't know it was conditioning, but I heard certain phrases being thrown around growing up, like I'm not rich, and that does something, especially to a kid, believing that, oh, I'm never gonna be rich. I mean, And I don't want to blame, because these people that I've heard, they only know that much at the time. They didn't know any better. So I think it's also about being aware and understanding that there is something out there. But for you to get to that stage, there's a lot of work to be done. And first, I think first is to pull yourself out of the environment. That's from my own experience. I mean, I don't know about you. What was like what were the steps that you took to get out, to cultivate that abundance mindset?
So it's a lot of deep internal work, and and some people can get through it on their own, and others, everybody can use help from a coach or a mentor, right?
Yeah.
But the idea is that once you start opening yourself up and start trying to understand what's happening inside of you, once you get started and start making changes, the easier it gets. But that initial part where you're initially trying to understand like how you're blocking yourself is the hardest part.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the environment you're in does make a difference too. You want to surround yourself by people who are also giving out that energy flow that you want, right? You don't want to surround yourself with people that are putting out that negative energy that's going to be, you're going to start to absorb. So you want to, make sure you're in a healthy environment for that for sure.
Mhm.
I think that like talking about like your story, like you started to say something about your story about when you were growing up, right? And a lot of that has to do with how we are in our adulthood. So one of the exercises that I have my clients do in my course is I have them talk about what their earliest memories with money were themselves, like when they had money, and then also what their memories of their parents' relationship with money was. And it's amazing how many people, when I ask them, do you see parallels today to what you experienced then?
Mm-hmm.
And they always are like, yeah, absolutely. But I never thought about it. But
They
yeah,
never put two and two together
they
until
never
they
put it
work
together.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And occasionally I have someone that has gone the complete opposite. Like their parents, like maybe their parents were super penny pinchers. And so they were always budgeting. And so they felt very restricted. But now
Right.
as an adult, they're just like, yeah, I don't care. I just spend the money.
Because I
Like,
have money now. It's my own money.
yeah.
I'm allowed to splurge.
So occasionally they go the opposite direction, but usually that's if it was an extreme.
Mm.
But the idea is it's still a reflection of what they had growing up. Even though it's an opposite reflection, it's still a reflection of that. So just figuring out like what does it really mean and what does it look like to other people, which is one of the reasons I do a group program instead of one-on-one mentoring, because in the group you can see that like everybody has their thing and everybody's thing is different, but you're not alone. Like literally everybody has something in their relationship with money. Doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, everybody has a relationship with money that's unique to them.
Mm-hmm. 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 Wow. Yeah, that was one of my question actually. I wanted to ask you, like, why do you only offer a group program and not one-to-one coaching? I know you
And that's
mentioned a bit, but then
yeah,
yeah, can you expand on that? Like,
sure.
why not one-to-one? I'm
Uh,
curious.
because I feel like when people are working on their mindset and having a group, they have a community of people that are supporting them, that are mentoring each other at the same time and sharing their stories so that they don't feel like they're alone and that they understand that there's not a problem with them. Like I think sometimes people are like, oh, if I'm hiring a coach or a mentor, like there's something wrong or something I'm not able to do. But that's not the case. It's really like I understand that I need personal growth and I want someone to help me through it. Someone who's been through it, who can, get me through it faster and help me understand it better. And then when you have other people that are doing it too, you have a community you can relate to other people, not just someone telling you like there's just more proof to the fact that your work is being done.
That you have, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a support group then. It's like
Yeah,
you have a
it is.
community with you, or like an accountability partner.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that notion. So what are some of the examples of limiting beliefs about money? I think we did touch a bit on that. But what are
Mhm.
the examples that are like shared by your clients?
So some of the limiting beliefs are like, some people will say, I'm terrible with money. And I'll ask them, like, why do you say you're terrible?
Why do you say so? Yeah.
Well, I didn't save money properly. I'm older now and I don't have any money saved. Or I bounced checks, or maybe I even had to file bankruptcy once. And 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 I can understand that. It sounds like maybe you had some bad experiences with money, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're terrible with money. It means that your circumstances at that point were not great with money, but let's figure out moving forward how we can be, excellent with money instead of terrible with money. How can we make those changes? And by starting to have a conversation and learn, that's the way you can. The other one is like that scarcity mindset. Like I'm just struggling to get by, and I'm not ever going to be rich. I'm just living paycheck to paycheck. And that's that scarcity, like where you're looking for your next dollar. Sometimes it's, if you think of like a salesperson, when you're talking to them as a customer, right? You can tell the salesperson that's like really trying to get you to buy something, and they're like really desperate and they need the money, and like you can tell like they're just selling. And that's a scarcity mindset. And it works too, like if you're in a business, let's say you're selling something and someone else is selling that same thing. If you feel like you're constantly like in competition, like you gotta beat that person, like there's some healthy competition too. But let's just say that you're really just, you're so focused on making sure that you get the sale and not that other person. That's a scarcity mindset too. Whereas if you are the salesperson who is like, you know what, I'm going to make the sales. There's enough people in this world that want this, and they're going to have a relationship with either me or the other person, and they're going to decide who they feel more comfortable with. So I want to be the person that builds the relationship with them, and hopefully they will become my customer. It's just a whole different mindset. And that's kind of like the abundance mindset, feeling that it's going to be, things are just going to come your way. And if you just believe in it and have that positive vibe, then it'll.
Love that. The two sides to it. So number one, I think I'd like to echo on the part where you said the competition, because if you are a seller of anything, a product or a service, like we mentioned earlier, if you truly believe in your core, because okay, now we're gonna go into spirituality a little bit. Everything is energy, right? Because if you know you're providing a service or you're selling a product that is, you have put the right intention to it, the right people will flock to you and not the other person. And I like to talk about that because you track what you are instead of you track not what you want. Because you can, again, taking it a step further, if you if you, let's say you're trying to sell, but then inside the belief that you have, you are still like you're trying to create a facade, like, okay, I don't need this, but I don't, the things are gonna come, but then inside you're like, oh my god, what if I cannot reach my KPI and I cannot make that, I can't hit the target, and then still the cycle is gonna continue. You are still gonna go against the current, which is struggling, to be honest, and being open to receive, because having an abundant mindset means letting it flow and trusting that it will come to you. You can have, I don't know, 4 million products out there, which is the same as what you're selling or service, but it's the people that you attract. Like you said, if they're comfortable working with you because I feel some sort of an affinity towards you, with you, I'm gonna work with you. Same thing, because this is what I have been thinking as well. Because why I'm saying this is I'm transitioning out from my 9 to 5 to a therapy and coaching business. I have also was a bit worried, but then I think I have to instill that kind of mindset that is enough for everyone. The right one will want to work with me. So yeah, and it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. Yeah, it's easier said than done. Like, I think 5 or 7 years. No, not even 2021 when I made the. Oh, I'm still in fear I was operating through the fear space. Well, how am I gonna get my um, bills paid and whatnot? But right now, I don't know. I don't have everything figured out yet, but I think trusting as well, and also the second part is the giving yourself that grace. Like sometimes when you push yourself too much, there'll be telltale signs that everybody is like, I don't think this is not right. And I think listening to that noise or nudge within you is super important as well as we navigate, especially about money, because at the end of the day, money is also an energy.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
let's talk about that for a moment. The voice inside of
Yeah.
you. Um,
Yeah.
so that's important to listen to the voice inside of you. And I think sometimes a lot of times we get so busy in our lives that we're not listening to the voice inside of us. We're just going through our day, doing all the things we need to do, right? And we're not ever listening, taking a pause to listen. So part of what I practice is taking time each morning and each evening. And I don't meditate. Someday I plan to take that up because I can see the worthiness of that. But I do like my own little meditation. As I go to bed in the evening, I think about my mindset and I think about how I will feel when I reach my next goal.
I
And
love that.
I
That's
get
the key.
I get that energy flowing through me before I lay down to sleep. And then I do the same thing when I wake up in the morning before I get out of bed. I start thinking about my next goal and how I will feel when I reach that next goal. And I try to get that feeling and that energy flowing so that I am hopefully going throughout the day with that energy surrounding me.
You're starting it, but that is the real key of manifestation. You
Yeah.
have to sit in that feeling. Oh, I love it. And it's so funny. Like everything that we have today, like right now, we have prayed for it. So when people say, I don't know how to manifest, just look around. It's there. You manifested this, you manifested the house that you are in. So imagine if let's say you have a friend or there's somebody that, because everything starts with a thought, right? And then how we realize and how we manifest it is by sitting in that feeling and already believing or acting as if it has happened. So it's easier said than done, but I think more and more people are realizing that these days. And I love the work that you do, money mindset. And there's a lot, all some of the guests that I've spoken to, they are looking into holistic coaching, and that means like aligning your heart, mind, and body and soul, and then essentially inviting the right energy, which is material, monetary, yeah, values in terms of, yes, I love that. I love that. Okay, now we're gonna go into the next question. Linda, what is a money story or money script?
So those are um the beliefs that you have about money. We talked about this a little bit, but the beliefs around money that you've gotten from the culture that you're brought up in. So from your parents, your family, your friends, the people around you. But a lot of times your money stories are like handed down through generations. And this is why sometimes like the poverty cycle perpetuates through families
Generational.
because it just gets generationally passed down, like that idea, right? So there's a psychologist, Brad Klontz, who actually coined the money scripts, and he named four of them, which are money avoidance, money worship, money status, and money vigilance. So he grouped them into those, but I think a lot of people kind of sometimes fall into more than one, and there are some different ones out there, but these are the four main ones. So in money avoidance would be that like the people that are raised in low income or disadvantaged areas, and they end up taking pride in having less money by perpetuating these beliefs that, you know, people with money are rich or greedy. Then it gives them an excuse for being poor and helps them feel better about their situation. But that again just keeps perpetuating that cycle. And then there's money worshipers who think that they just need money and money is going to solve all their problems. So
Mm.
if you're trying to manifest like I need, however much money you need, and thinking that's going to solve your problems, that money is not going to solve your problems. Sure, it can help because it can help you pay some bills, or pay off some debt. But you're not making any internal changes if you're just manifesting a number. Like you have to
Yeah.
manifest the internal changes that are going to get you to a point where you're happy and how you're going to feel and what that's going to solve. So money worshipers who just think that money solves everything just end up overspending because every time they get the money, they think that material things are going to make it better. So they're not really actually doing the internal work. And then money status is people who want that social status and they want to look like they have a high net worth and they've got like the best clothes and the best cars. But a lot of times they actually have the worst financial habits because they are overspenders because they want to look like they're rich. So they might not actually. And then money vigilance are the people who are very cautious or prudent. They save, they budget carefully. They probably actually have a higher net worth because they're more frugal, but they don't, they don't have all the fancy stuff. And
They
so
don't enjoy life as much.
yeah, so but not everybody fits into one of these exact buckets, and they might go into different ones. But the idea is that doing that internal work to figure out where you stand and understanding like why you might be thinking things that you do or doing things that you do is the way you get through it and you get to a better place.
Wow. Yes. Yes. I cannot stress this enough. Yes. You can change your reality. You are the key, to be honest, because you create it. Because if you think that I'm gonna only amount to this much, then yes, the universe, the divine higher power is gonna hand you that because they're always listening. Whatever that you say, you think even, you're gonna manifest it. So if you're already thinking so much about I'm gonna be poor, try perhaps thinking like, what if I'm like this? And then expand on that. But again, that's why they need coaches like yourself so that they can take that steps towards that. Yeah. Right. You're a financial planner, Linda. Why did you add on this second line of business?
So, working with clients in financial planning, I was finding that sometimes they weren't seeing what I saw, and I was having a hard time understanding why they were having a blockage to a recommendation, right? So, I started thinking about, you know, what these internal blockages are in like putting together plans and how I could help my clients in that sense then overcome those or understand those so that they could then do that internal work maybe to see why they were thinking the way that they did. So I actually started a separate business to do just the money mindset work because not everybody is working with a financial planner. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that could benefit from the mindset work alone. And then maybe they will eventually work with a financial planner once they
Yeah.
get a handle on their own stuff. But even people that have a lot of money, like I would say like some people that I worked with were, talking about their investments and they're like, but my brother does this, or my father always said this. And I'm like, you're not your father and you're not your brother.
Exactly.
You are not
Exactly.
you
That's
don't
so
have the
dangerous. Yeah.
same
Yeah.
situation. Like you don't have the same money they have, whether it's more or less. You don't have the same family they have. You've got kids or no kids or whatever. You don't live in
Circumstances could be different.
You don't
Yeah.
have the same job. Like nothing about you is the same. Why would you do the same thing that they're doing? And so that's one of the things that I would see a lot. They'd be like, "Well, my brother, da da da," and I'm like, "Well, you're not your brother." I'm fine to
Yes.
have a conversation about why your brother might have chose that, and I can also tell you why I wouldn't recommend that for you. But they were
Exactly.
just like, "Well, I still want to do that a little bit of that anyway." Well, okay, it's your prerogative, it's your money. We can do whatever you want. We'll fit that into the plan. But it was
Yeah.
like, just things like that where it was like, what really is your holdup here? Um,
Mm, yeah.
so yeah, so
I think you explained it well. Some people have to work from the core, which is the mindset itself, and then move on to the planning of their assets and how they're gonna invest or I don't know, save their money in different investment tools. And coming back to following the herd, the crowd, because the reason, I mean, there could be a lot of reason, but I think the main apparent reason is don't have the awareness. And again, coming back the root, it's not thought. And yeah, something must be done here.
Yeah.
Hopefully by, this podcast, I know it's great one step at a time by you or people like yourself, coaches, that's doing this. Hopefully it will. But then on the flip side of it, this is me thinking out loud. There's a reason why it's not being taught, because perhaps they want to keep, certain people oppressed is such a harsh or a big word, but yeah, status quo. if you catch my drift. I
Yeah.
mean, but yeah, a lot of people are waking up to that right now, and they're not buying it to that sentiment already. So yeah, you're in that. We're all moving towards that, some collective as a whole.
Yeah. So, I would say that, we all stress about money. Like almost everybody has stress over money. It's such a big part of our lives. And I just want to say that, like, financial well-being, like your well-being, financially or whatever, goes well beyond like the money, right? It's actually finding a harmony in your personal life, your career choices, your financial stability, your security, and your freedom. And like that's how you get a fulfilling life, is finding that balance. And money is just one part of that. That happens to be the part that I focus on, but it's really just one piece of the whole foundation of the whole like holistic well-being. Then but financial stability is kind of the foundation, so that's why I focus on money. But to truly have, like, a whole harmony in your life, like, you have to address your finances and you have to address your mindset. And a lot of people think when I do money mindset work that it's really just about getting more money or making more money, but it's really not. It's really, I mean, it can be that, but it's along with that, it's making smart money decisions, developing healthy habits and a relationship with your money, and then having those difficult conversations and being, available to talk about it, to talk through it and not ignore it. So
Yeah.
it's really like a piece of a bigger puzzle about, being truly fulfilled in your life.
Throughout that process, you get to know yourself better,
Definitely.
right? Yes. The whatever beliefs that you have about money, and why you, like we talk about this, why are we acting the way we act around money, and what are your trigger points about money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one. Triggers. Yeah. And if you're triggered, that just shows that you have something to work on within you. It's not, that is something within you that you need to work with. If you're triggered, or if somebody else is triggered, meaning they have to work on something, because everybody else is just a reflection of you. So yeah, something for people to think about. What is next for you, Linda?
Gosh, nobody's asked me that yet. What is next for me?
Yes.
I'm currently working on participating in a group book, so I haven't authored a book before. That's coming up for me. Um,
Wow, congratulations.
Thanks. So I'm pretty excited about that. I got invited to be in that book, so pretty psyched about that. But I've got my money mindset and mastery group cohort course that's running. Have some more of those coming up soon, and just, trying to help as many people as possible find fulfillment in their life through working on their mindsets around money.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you. Right, so I'm going to pivot to a self-worth question, and this is my question to you.
Okay.
So, what are some common misconceptions about self-worth, and how can we debunk them to help others on their journey of self-discovery?
So I think that the self-worth things are so unique to people. So I think that a lot of people don't even realize that they have that limiting belief about their self-worth, right? So it can be just feeling that they're not deserving of a lifestyle, or that they're not capable of a lifestyle, or it can be in a job or a career, not realizing that they are worthy of that promotion or worthy of a certain amount in salary. So helping them overcome those limiting beliefs. And what was the second part of your question?
How can we So those are some common misconceptions about self-worth, and the second part would be how can we debunk them to help others on their journey of self-discovery.
Yeah. So it's it's really helping them understand that they have it, first of all. But hopefully once if they've come to me as a coach or a mentor, then they probably have already realized that there is something there. But a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times people haven't realized that they have it there. And so it's always good to ask those open-ended questions and get them really talking and thinking. And the reason why coaches do the open-ended questions is because it causes the person to think internally. It causes them to go inside of themselves to answer their own question. So when you work with a coach, what they're really doing is not telling you what to do. They're asking you the questions so that you bring it out from inside to help
Mm-hmm.
you figure out what it is that you need to do. Because
Mm-hmm.
we can't tell you what to do, but we can help you go through that journey of self-discovery and then help you walk through like what you can do to change it, or help you recognize it when it does come out. Are you recognizing that this is what you just said? And then they're like, yeah, I guess I did just say that. Okay,
Yes, yes,
we've
yes.
recognized it. Now let's reframe it and figure out how we can put that to work for us.
I love that word reframe. Yes, it's reframing, understanding and reframing. That's how you take that first step towards changing your mindset.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, Linda, what is your heart's greatest wish?
My heart's greatest wish is for peace. Just one word, peace. In all
Yes.
places, in my own life, in the world, everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the one thing that money can buy. Look at
Ah,
the irony, the paradox there.
right?
Once you have that bliss,
Yeah.
millions, billions you can't replace that. Can have
Yeah.
billions in the bank or your net worth's billions, but then if you are constantly worried or yes, all those things you're thinking about, am I gonna lose the billion? I'm gonna lose my status, but you're not at peace, meaning you're not holistic in
Mhm.
your terms of your well-being. Then I
Yeah.
think the key here to our listeners also is balance, and also life is a journey. So once you get there, once you get to a certain stage, you're allowed to pivot. I think as well, we're striving towards that one goal, like let's say a money, you change your mindset and then okay, figure out what else can you change, because I don't know about other people or about you, but me, I used to think like, okay, I used to be so fixated at one goal and that's it. I never thought about what's next. And life has humbled me so much that life doesn't stop at 30 or whatever age you're in now. And it shouldn't. So it's a lot about understanding yourself as well and being kind and also forward looking, hopeful, I guess, to put it simply as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a mantra that you live by?
I'm not sure if I have one. I need to get one, right?
It's okay. I mean, something that you I don't know, when you're in the face of something, you think about it and that keeps you going. It could be that.
Yeah, I think it's just that my world is at peace, right? My internal world is at peace. And that's the mantra that I want to have. And as we all know, it doesn't happen every day, but that's
Thank you.
it. That my internal world, I should say, is at peace would be my mantra.
Do you sleep well, or is there anything that keeps you up at night?
Well, my husband and my cats keep me up at night. Otherwise,
Yeah,
I
I
sleep
can I
well.
can vouch on the cat.
Otherwise,
Yes.
I sleep well. I take care of my elderly father, and so that could be pretty frustrating sometimes. But it doesn't keep me up at night. I don't have problems sleeping, and I wonder if it's because I do that little meditation
That
before I go.
visualization. Yeah, that sitting in your feeling, right? Oh my
Mhm.
god, I'm gonna
Yeah,
do that. Like I understand it and I do it like sometimes you do it consciously and then unconsciously, but then you making it a practice, like a discipline, that deliberate, intentional
yeah,
before bed. I'm gonna sit in this feeling and wow, that's so powerful. I don't
yeah.
know if I'm gonna do it in the morning though, because I'm gonna be thinking about, okay, what am I gonna finish today? But then, yeah, I think people can adjust according to their liking or their suitability. So yes, that is a good call out. Thank you.
You mentioned the word intention in there, and I just want to circle back to that really quick, because that's a key word in working on self-improvement, right? Self-development is living your life with intention and having intention. I just wanted to bring that word out because I heard it and I thought it was important to mention.
Hashtag intention. Be intentional.
Yes, definitely.
So last question for you, Linda. I don't know if you're gonna quote me the same thing, but if you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening, and the world is your legacy, what would it be? I can hear the cat.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine. My cat is like
me talking about it. I sent out the energy. Right? So, quote. Let's see. So there's a talk that I do, a motivational talk, and it's about your personal mission and vision and values. And in there, I say something like, when you're at a crossroads in your life or you're feeling uncomfortable, it's really probably because you have something in you is not aligning with your values, right? And I think what I say is something like your values are, I can't remember what it is, but if your values are not there, then you're not going to be happy where you are. So you need to make sure that your values are aligned. And I need to memorize that quote that I always say because it's
that's okay.
There's something to do with that.
Well, it's basically choosing passion over financial gain, because eventually the money will come.
Yeah.
So if you're just maybe stuck, or you saying yes to the job because of the money, somehow it's not gonna be. The universe will do something, or it will not be sustainable. It will still take you out of it, and then you'll have to pivot, and that's fine, right? And coming back to listening to yourself, listening to that guide or the intuition, that gut feeling.
Yeah. And pivoting is okay. I've pivoted several times in my life, but you just have to realize that you're on a different path and you need to, pivot and take the new path. And I think a lot about what we're talking about there is I also left a corporate position to start my own businesses, and it can be a scary place, but you know that when it's your own, that your values are going to be aligned. And so
absolutely.
Absolutely.
I love that. Wow, mic drop. And that sums up our conversation beautifully. Wow, you ended it with a bow, a ribbon. Thank you so much, Linda. I had a great time.
Thanks so much.
And that was so.
This is a fun conversation.
Oh, thank you so much. So how can people reach out to you?
They can go to my website, mindsetandmoney.com, and there is an offer on there for podcast listeners. So if you just put /pod, POD, there's a freebie download of the 14 habits of successful people, a free little money mindset quiz, and then also a discount on my group program. So they can find it there.
I love it. Wow, guys, you heard it from Linda herself. So if you're interested to work with her, or just want to reach out to her, just visit her website. I'll be sure to include that in the caption. So thank you all for listening, and bye-bye.